Here are tonight's team of 8 contestants about to play for £20,000. Only one of them will walk away with the prize money. 7 of them will leave empty-handed after their teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 8 people in the studio here tonight could win up to £20,000. They don't know each other. However, if they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 7 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Mark, I'm 26, I'm a personal account manager from Manchester.
I'm Karen, I'm 49, I'm a civil servant from Plymouth in Devon.
I'm Angela, a 35-year-old freelance writer from Lincoln.
I'm Chris, I'm 51, I'm a van courier from Crouch End in London.
I'm Sue, I'm 45 years of age. I'm a training officer from Walsall in the West Midlands.
I'm Bill, I'm 63, an independent financial advisor from Wisbech in Cambridgeshire.
I'm Gillian, I'm 26, I'm a social care worker from Glasgow.
I'm Dave, I'm 18, I'm a barman from Droitwich.
Now, the rules in each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £2,500 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 8 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and you lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. We'll begin with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Angela. Let's play the weakest link. The first question is for £50. Start the clock. Angela, pork pie, bowler and beanie are all types of what clothing?
Hat.
Correct, Chris. According to the proverb, an army marches on its what?
Belly.
Stomach. I'll accept belly. Sue, what R is a small carpet?
Rug.
Correct, Bill. In the 1960s TV sitcom The Addams Family, what was the name of the butler?
Lurch.
Correct, Gillian. In medicine, what F describes an abnormally high body temperature, often accompanied by shivering and headaches?
Fever.
Correct, Dave. Which syrupy liquid is made by bees from the nectar of flowers?
Honey.
Correct.
Bank.
Mark, in sport, flat racing involves what type of 4-legged animal?
Horses.
Correct, Karen. What were the first 2 names of Bell, the inventor of the telephone?
William Graham.
Alexander Graham. Angela, in children's toys, what is the name of the toy figure that springs out of a box when it's opened?
Jack in the Box.
Correct, Chris. Did computer floppy disks get their name because they were originally floppy?
No.
Yes. Sue, what H is the horny casing of the toe of some mammals in place of a claw?
Hoof.
Correct, Bill. Does the 1976 film Bugsy Malone feature a cast of animals or children?
Children.
Correct, Gillian. What's the name of the London street off Whitehall that is home to the Prime Minister?
Downing Street.
Correct, Dave. Who invented the saxophone, Aldous Sax or Herbert Horn?
Aldous Sax.
Correct. Mark, in
Bank.
literature, who is Sue Townsend's most famous schoolboy creation?
Adrian Mole.
Correct, Karen. Which famous ocean liner, Britain's largest, made its maiden voyage in 1969?
QE2.
Correct, Angela. In pop music, what's the nickname of Melanie Brown from the Spice Girls?
Mel B.
Yes, I'll accept that. Chris, in which snooker-related pub game played with a timing device must players avoid knocking over wooden pegs when potting balls?
Bar billiards.
Correct, Sue. Which TV cartoon cat was frequently chased by Officer Dibble and was loosely based on Sergeant Bilko?
Top Cat.
Correct, Bill. In science, what do thermometers and pyrometers measure?
Temperature.
Correct, Gillian. In the animal kingdom, which sea in the ape family is known for its high intelligence?
Chimpanzee.
Correct,
Bank.
Dave. OK, you've reached and banked your target of £2,500 and that money will go through to the next round. But, of course, one of you will not. Remember, you will have 10 seconds less in the next round, so you need to streamline the team and lose the person least likely to encourage the bank balance higher and higher. You have to be ruthless to be rich. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Gillian is the first strongest link, while the statistics show that Angela is the weakest link. But at this early stage of the game, will the other players have picked up on this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Karen.
Chris.
Chris.
Dave.
Karen.
Chris.
Karen.
Karen.
Gillian, are you getting rid of the other women?
No, it was just the Alexander Graham Bell question. He was a great Scotsman. I took that personally, so sorry.
Dave, why Karen?
Well, I really like Karen, but again, it was that Alexander Graham Bell question. So.
There's no need to crawl on this programme, by the way. How do you think you did, Karen?
I knew I got the Alexander Graham Bell question wrong. I did know the answer to that, so I could kick myself. But I thought we were all much of a muchness in that round.
You did know the answer?
Yes.
So were you trying not to show off?
I must have been, yes. Trying to fit in.
Right, well, you haven't fitted in at all, because with 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I feel very disappointed about being the first one to be voted off. The question about Alexander Graham Bell, I knew the answer to that. I think nerves got the better of me on the day, and looking back, it was such an easy question to get wrong.
Round 2, team. You have in the bank £2,500, having reached the target in the first round. There are now 7 of you left. We are taking 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Gillian. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Gillian, in music, is a mandolin a string or wind instrument?
It's a string.
Correct. Dave, now a BBC sports presenter, which British tennis player won the 1976 French Open women's title? Sue Barker. Mark, according to superstition, which shoulder should you throw spilt salt over to avoid bad luck?
Left.
Correct. Angela, in the human body, what C is a prolonged, painful contraction of a muscle?
Pass.
Cramp. Chris, in classical music, does an overture come at the beginning or end of an opera?
Beginning.
Correct. Sue, the Taj Mahal is considered to be the most famous of the ancient buildings of which country?
India.
Correct. Bill, what was the name of the rat puppet character of the 1980s who had a sidekick called Kevin the Gerbil?
Pass. Pass.
Roland Rat. Gillian, in nature, what M is a type of plant that grows on moist ground and has stems and leaves but no true roots?
Moss.
Correct. Dave, which crime novelist also wrote the plays Black Coffee and The Mousetrap?
Agatha Christie.
Correct. Mark, in October 2000, which British film star and model broke an actor's strike because of a television advert she filmed?
Naomi Campbell.
Elizabeth Hurley. Angela, in the animal kingdom, can a kiwi bird fly?
No.
Correct. Chris, what part of the UK is Snowdonia, Wales or Scotland?
Wales.
Correct. Sue, what's the name of Mick Jagger's jewellery designing daughter?
Jade Jagger.
Correct.
Bank.
Bill, which fairy tale play by J.M. Barrie, first performed in 1904, was subtitled The Boy Who Would Not Grow Up?
Pass.
Peter Pan. Gillian, what voluntary medical donation service was established in 1921 by 4 Red Cross members?
Blood donating service.
Correct. Dave, which bee is the second largest city in England?
Birmingham.
Correct. Mark, in the animal kingdom, is an oriole a type of bird or insect?
Bird.
Correct. Angela, in TV, what's the name of the Irish priest who shared a house on Craggy Island with Father Dougal and Father Jack?
Ted.
Correct. Chris.
Bank.
Val Kilmer played the part of Jim Morrison in which Oliver Stone film about the pop group of the same name?
Never Get Out of Here Alive.
The Doors.
Yeah.
Sue, in nature, what is a river mouth widening into the sea where fresh water mixes with salt water?
An estuary.
Correct. Bill, which magazine campaigning against homelessness first hit the streets in 1991? The correct answer is The Big Issue. And you didn't do nearly so well in that round, team. You won £800 of a possible 2,500. Whose time is up? Who has reached the end of the road? Who is too slow to stay? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
This time, Sue is the strongest player. The weakest link is Bill, who answered all of his questions incorrectly, although he did bank £300 for the team. Is this enough to save him in the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Bill.
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 Dave.
Bill.
Chris.
Mark, feeling pleased with yourself?
Up to now.
Why Bill?
Because I believe he got his questions wrong.
Got 2 questions wrong.
2 questions wrong, yeah, and one of them was about Roland Rat, wasn't it? So
Yes.
might have been before his time, but I think everybody should know about the Rat Man.
Right. But it doesn't matter if they don't know Elizabeth Hurley from Naomi Campbell.
Not really, no. No, I'd settle for either.
How's it going for you, Chris?
Not too bad. Yeah, all right.
What are your hobbies?
Supporting Portsmouth Football Club and a bit of reading, clubs.
Clubs, eh? Never heard of the Doors?
Yeah, I know, dreadful. I was thinking of the book as opposed to the film. Bad one.
It's best to stay awake during this game. What do you do for a living, Bill?
Independent financial advisor.
Right. Do you think as quickly at work as you've been doing this evening?
In the first round, I thought pretty quickly.
Did you? How did you think you thought in the second round?
Not very well.
No. Statistically, you were the worst player. And with 5 votes, you are the weakest link. Well,
I think under the circumstances in the last round, it was probably well deserved because I didn't get a single question right. I think the one question in that round I should have definitely got right was Peter Pan. I really did kick myself when Anne said the answer Peter, because I knew it. At that moment, it just didn't come out, that's all.
round 3 so far, you've won £3,300 out of a possible £5,000. You are down to 6 players. You've dispensed with the civil servant and the financial advisor. Dearie me, we are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, in food, what is the French term on a menu signifying that each item is priced separately?
A la carte.
Correct. Gillian. In environmental science, what term is given to the trapping of heat by gases in the Earth's atmosphere?
Thermals.
Greenhouse effect. Dave, in human biology, what S is the organ situated on the left-hand side of the body between the diaphragm and stomach?
Pass.
Spleen. Mark, in history, what was the assumed name of Malcolm Little, the US black nationalist leader?
Malcolm X.
Correct. Angela, in the animal kingdom, the giant panda is native to which country?
China.
Correct. Chris.
Bank.
In TV, on which Jerry Anderson puppet show was 9-year-old Joe McClane the most special agent?
Pass.
Joe 90. Sue, which American singer played the title role in the 1985 film Desperately Seeking Susan?
Madonna.
Correct. Gillian, in food, pecan and pistachio are varieties of what N?
Nut.
Correct. Dave, in Greek mythology, who was the beautiful youth who was loved by Aphrodite?
Eros.
Adonis. Mark, for what do the initials RSPCA stand?
Royal Society for Protection of Birds.
No, Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Angela, in music, Addicted to Love was a 1986 hit for which Yorkshire-born singer?
Robert Palmer.
Correct. Chris, in science, what P is the effect of force on an area?
Pass.
Pressure. Sue, what is the capital city of Russia?
Moscow.
Correct. Gillian, was the year 2000 AD a leap year?
No.
Yes. Dave, what do the initials WC stand for on a lavatory door?
Water closet.
Correct. Mark, front of what is the term applied to the areas of the theatre which are used by the audience?
Front of house.
Correct. Angela, in the Roman Catholic Church, which is the higher-ranking priest, archbishop or cardinal?
Cardinal.
Correct. Chris, in which part of the human body would you find the pharynx?
Throat.
Correct. Sue,
Bank.
in transport, what L is an engine for hauling railway trains?
Pass.
Locomotive. Gillian, PC George Dixon was one of Britain's longest-serving TV policemen in which series from 1955 to 1976?
Dixon of Dick Green. Dixon of Dick Green.
Dixon of Dock Green. I have to accept your first answer. And the time is up. And team, in that round, you only scraped together an embarrassing £600. Decision time. Who can't pull it off? Who should be given their marching orders? Who is now an embarrassment to the rest of the team? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
strongest link is Angela, as she was the only player to answer all of her questions correctly. After being the strongest link in round 1, Gillian is now the weakest link statistically. But can her previous performance save her?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gillian.
Dave.
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 Chris.
How's it going for you, Sue?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
No, how's it going? How are you
Very
doing?
well. Yeah, very
Yeah,
well.
good. Right, why Dave?
I think he's going to hinder us because of his age. I think if he was a little bit older, his knowledge may be a little bit more, so that's
Okay.
why I voted.
So perhaps when he grows up, he could come back.
He may well do.
Okay. Where do you live, Gillian?
Glasgow.
Oh. Different television there, is it? You've got PC Doc of Dick Green there, have you?
I think must have been the adult channel I was thinking of.
Did you think Dave was the weakest link?
I don't think he was the weakest link. I just, he'd lost a bit of money when he got a question wrong, and I think I noticed that more because I was beside him.
So who did you think was the weakest link, Gillian?
Me.
That's correct. Statistically, you were the worst player. It is votes that count. How old are you, Dave?
18.
18. Do you feel you're out of your depth here?
Yes.
Yes, just as well you're going then. With 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Not remembering the Adonis thing, it's just something that I know will just keep coming back. My friends will keep mentioning it, it'll come up in everything, or it'll be off. I'd like Chris to be voted off next. I thought it was weird that he voted before me in the first round when I got no questions wrong. I think considering he got a question wrong on the doors, he was alive then, I'd have got that. But no, I'd like it to be Chris, but that's just because I'm being bitchy.
Round 4, you've banked £3,900 so far out of potential prize money of £7,500. There are 5 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Angela. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Angela, what W is a low wall or barrier built across a river to raise the water level?
Weir.
Correct. Chris, in maths, what is the sum of all the interior angles in any quadrilateral?
Pass.
360 degrees. Sue, which American term for dinner jacket is derived from the name of a fashionable New York country club?
Tuxedo?
Correct. Gillian, which royal park in London has an open-air theatre and a zoo?
Hyde Park.
Regent's Park. Mark, in the lyrics of which Elvis hit did the warden throw a party in the county jail?
Jailhouse Rock.
Correct. Angela, if a scooter travels at 20 miles an hour, how many miles will it travel in half an hour?
10.
Correct. Chris.
Bang.
In the animal kingdom, Gen 2, Little Blue and Emperor are all varieties of which creature?
Snake.
Penguin. Sue, in which year did the first Superman comic strip appear, 1938 or 1945?
1938.
Correct. Gillian, what is the name of the legendary slave writer to whom authorship of many Greek fables are attributed?
Aesop.
Correct. Mark, in which century did Madrid become the capital of Spain, the 17th or 19th?
17th.
Correct. Angela.
Bank.
What I is the term used to denote the artificial hatching of eggs through mechanical means?
Pass.
Incubate. Chris, in the USA, Indianapolis is the capital of which state?
Indiana.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
In religion, what is the popular name of the section of the Western Wall in Jerusalem where Jewish pilgrims gather to pray and lament the destruction of the temple?
Wailing Wall?
Correct. Gillian, in TV, which broadcaster has a teletext service called CFAX?
BBC.
Correct. Mark, in science, what does a decibel measure?
Sound.
Correct. Angela,
Bank.
which US state is further south, Kansas or Oklahoma?
Kansas.
Oklahoma. Chris, in science, non-conductive materials such as plastic and rubber are known as what eye?
Pass.
Insulators. Sue, in the animal kingdom, is the sun bear the smallest or largest of the bear family?
Smallest.
Correct. Gillian, in the animal... Time is up. And after all that work, team, you banked a miserable £550. Whose lights are fading too fast? Who is too slow to stay? Who can't you wait to get rid of? I urge you to drop the dope. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Sue is now the strongest link statistically. The weakest link is Chris, who answered 3 of his questions incorrectly, but he did bank money for the team. But will the voting follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Chris.
Chris.
Angela.
Gillian.
Chris.
Mark, why Chris?
Top bloke and all that, but I think he did get a couple of questions wrong.
Top bloke at what?
In life.
Angela, do you think Chris is a top bloke?
I do, yes.
Right, and you voted for him as well.
I did. Someone has to go, and Chris got 2 questions wrong.
Gosh, you didn't get 2 questions wrong, did you, Chris?
I passed on 2.
It's just as bad.
I know, well... Yeah, at least it's quick, isn't it?
What do you do for a living?
Drive a van.
Do you? Do you keep the windows open?
In the summer, yeah, not get brown, you know.
Maybe it's blown all your brains away, has it? Science, culture, entertainment, maths, natural history. What made you think you should come on a general knowledge programme?
I just got unlucky, didn't I?
It's even unluckier now because you're not stopping, are you, Chris?
Nah.
No.
I'll get down.
Statistically, you were the worst player. Do you understand that?
Oh, yeah.
Good, because I didn't think you could do any maths. That means you got more things wrong than anyone else, OK?
Oh. Yes, understand.
OK, you got that bit? Right,
Yes.
the next bit is that with 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think Mark will be voted off next because I think he's quite lucky to still be there. He's got quite a few what I think are easy questions wrong. Angela will probably get more ruthless as the game goes on. There's just something about her. I should imagine she could be very hard if she's got to be.
Round 5, your total is £4,450. If you'd hit your targets, it would be £10,000. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. There are 4 of you left. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, what bee is a felt-like woolen fabric, usually green, used for the top of snooker or card tables?
Baize.
Correct, Gillian. Who was defeated at the Battle of Flodden in 1513, the Scots or the English?
The Scots.
Correct, Mark. In which decade was the singer and songwriter Michael Jackson born?
60s.
1950s. Angela, the American Revolution of 1775 to 1783 is also known by what other name?
American Civil War.
The American War of Independence. Sue, in food, Pippin and Discovery are types of which fruit?
Apples.
Correct, Gillian. In which hemisphere would you find a boreal forest, northern or southern?
Southern.
Northern. Mark, which sport features in the Kevin Costner films Bill Durham and Field of Dreams?
Baseball.
Correct, Angela. In government, for what do the letters CSA stand?
Pass.
Child Support Agency. Sue, what is the occupation of Kieran Fallon and Frankie Dettori?
They're jockeys.
Correct, Gillian. In which country is the winter sports resort of San Moritz?
Italy.
Switzerland. Mark, which 1998 Oscar-winning film has the tagline, a comedy about the greatest love story almost never told?
Romeo and Juliet.
Shakespeare in Love. Angela, in which country might you visit the Bungle Bungles and Wagga Wagga?
Australia.
Correct, Sue. Which of the following 2 men was a famous Scottish writer, Sir Walter Scott or Robert Falcon Scott?
Sir Walter Scott.
Correct, Gillian. In nature, what ale is the name given to any member of the pea and bean family?
Pod.
Legume. Mark, in science, is neon a solid, liquid or gas under normal conditions?
Gas.
Correct, Angela. How much would the phone bill be in pounds and pence if you made 80 local calls at 4 pence each?
32.
The correct answer is £3.20, but the time is up. And in that round, you did even more spectacularly badly than you've done in any previous rounds. You banked just £100. Who is beginning to wilt? Who is going to do you no favours as the game gets tougher? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second time, Sue is the strongest link, having answered all of her questions correctly. The weakest link is Gillian, who got the most answers wrong. But how will the voting go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Gillian.
Mark.
Gillian.
Angela.
Right, team, a rubbish round for all of you. You managed to bank just £100. Sue, why Gillian?
Well, I thought Gillian was the weakest link in the round before this, and I still think she's the weakest link, and she's getting more nervous as the game's going on, so she's got to go.
Right. Mark, why Gillian?
Because she got a couple of questions wrong in the last round. I know that I might have done as well, but you know, that's what Sue said. She didn't have too good a round before, so I plumped for Gillian.
Gillian, do they spell pod with an L in Glasgow?
My mind went blank and I just said the first thing I could think of.
Right, OK. Well, plenty of opportunities for your mind to go as blank as you like now, because you're not going to be with us much longer. Statistically, you were the worst player, and with 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
When my name came up, I wasn't surprised. I think after my Dixon of Dock Green answer, I just went to pot. I think Angela will be voted off next. Sue and Mark seem to be really keeping their cool, keeping their confidence up, and I can see Angela kind of getting a bit nervy as it's getting near the big kind of finale. So I hope she's not off because she's great, but I think she might be.
Round 6 team, you have in the kitty £4,550. If you'd stayed awake, you could have £12,500 in the kitty by now. You've got rid of the civil servant, the financial advisor, the barman who's too young, the van driver who keeps his windows open, and the social worker who thinks pod begins with an L. There are 3 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, name the 1980s British romantic comedy which starred Paul Nicholas as Vince Pinner and Jan Francis as Penny Warrender.
Just Good Friends.
Correct. Mark. Bauhaus was a school of architecture in which European country?
Italy.
Germany. Angela, which of these cities is further from London by plane, Rome or Salzburg?
Salzburg.
Rome. Sue, in nature, what S is the name for the grasslands of Asia?
Savannah.
Steppe. Mark, what is the highest mountain in Northern Ireland, Slieve Donard or Sligo Bridget?
Slieve Donard.
Correct. Angela, in nature, the world's tallest living tree is found in which state in the USA?
Arizona.
California. Sue, in which country did the Bay of Pigs invasion take place?
Cuba.
Correct. Mark, in classical music, was the composer Bela Bartok born in Hungary or Finland?
Hungary.
Correct. Angela, in which country would you visit Edfu and Aswan?
Egypt.
Correct. Sue, which British-born actress starred as Jessica Fletcher in the 1980s TV series Murder, She Wrote?
Angela Lansbury.
Correct. Mark, in international trade, what Q is a limitation on the quantities exported or imported?
Quota.
Correct. Angela.
Bank.
In which English shire county would you find the Cotswolds, the Severn Valley and the Forest of Dean?
Warwickshire.
Gloucestershire. Sue, in which 1971 Oscar-winning film did Gene Hackman play Jimmy Popeye Doyle, a cop on the trail of a French drug trafficker?
French Connection.
Correct.
Bank.
Mark, in music, Father Mackenzie features in the lyrics. Time is up. And another disastrous round where you banked a disappointing £350. Now, let me tell you about round 7. You get the chance to double what you bank, and that means in the next round there's £5,000 to be won. The question is, who now, quite frankly, has gone from dimmer to dimmest? Who's unfit to continue? Who would be better off lying in a darkened room with a cup of tea? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the 3rd time, Sue is the strongest link. The weakest link is Angela. But at this crucial stage of the game, How will the voting go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Angela.
Sue.
Angela.
Mark, what has Angela done to upset you?
Got a couple of questions wrong, I think.
Right, you've never done that.
I have. But I'm still here,
Yeah.
so I live to fight another day.
Sue, want to get rid of Angela?
I do now. She's voted for me, yes.
Right. Angela, you're having a summer holiday?
A summer holiday?
Yeah.
I voted for Sue.
No, I'm just asking if you're going on the holidays in the summer.
Oh, I see. No.
Good. You might get lost because you don't know anything about geography, do you?
Well, not too much about England, no.
You don't know anything about any country.
I know about Egypt and the Aswan Dam.
Yeah, but that's not sufficient to come on a general knowledge show, is it? You only got one question right.
I hang my head in shame.
I think that's the best place for your head. 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I know the oldest living tree is in California, and for some weird, wild reason, I just froze and I saw Anne's steely stare boring into me, and I just couldn't come up with the right answer. It just went out of my head. I think Sue's going to win. I'm almost 100% sure of that, which is why I voted for her in the last round, hoping that there'd be the slim, slim chance that I would remain and that I'd be pitted against Mark.
Round 7. You've won £4,900 so far. You could, of course, have won £15,000 by now. Mark and Sue, just the two of you left, and this time you have only 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be doubled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £5,000 is at stake in this round. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, with which sport would you associate Juan Manuel Fangio?
Tennis.
Motor racing. Mark, which southwestern American state is the only one to have been an independent republic prior to joining the Union?
Texas.
Correct, Sue.
Bank.
In the human body, the skin is made up of 2 layers, the epidermis and what other?
Pass.
The dermis. Mark, in TV, who was the first presenter of the children's programme Crackerjack in 1955?
Max Bygraves.
Eamon Andrews. Sue, in geography, Norfolk Island in the South Pacific is in which country's territory?
Australia.
Correct. Mark, who became president of France in 1981?
Pass.
Francois Mitterrand. Sue, Martin Kemp and Steve Norman from the pop band Spandau Ballet appeared as players in which football comic strip in 1985?
Pass.
Roy of the Rovers. Mark, which 1959 musical was Roger and Hammerstein's last collaboration?
Singing in the Rain.
The Sound of Music. Sue, which TV sports programme first shown in 1958 has included David Coleman and Frank Boff amongst its presenters?
Grandstand.
Correct. Mark, Omar Sharif starred in which 1965 film adaptation of Pasternak's epic novel of the Russian Revolution?
Dr. Zhivago.
Correct.
Bank.
Sue, from which country does the shiatsu method of massage originate?
Japan.
Correct.
Bank.
Mark, in film, who played prison warder Paul Edgecombe in the 1999 drama? Time is up. You didn't make it to £2,500. You won just £200. We'll double that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means total prize money this evening of £5,300. But of course, only one of you can take that money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions. It's the best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Mark and Sue for £5,300. Let's play the weakest link. Sue, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go second.
Mark, name the author who wrote the 1939 novel Finnegan's Wake?
D.H. Lawrence.
The correct answer is James Joyce. Sue. In the animal kingdom, what type of creature is a booby?
A fish.
The correct answer is a bird. Mark. What make of German car was named after the daughter of an Austrian diplomat?
Mercedes.
That is the correct answer. Sue. In politics, for what do the letters in the acronym NATO stand?
North Atlantic Treaty Organisation.
That is the correct answer. Mark. According to Shakespeare, in Henry IV, Part 2, uneasy lies the head that wears a what?
Crown.
That is the correct answer. Sue. What were the British ships Dartmouth, Eleanor and Beaver carrying when their cargo was thrown overboard in Boston in 1773?
Tea.
That is the correct answer. So at this stage you are level pegging. Mark. Which Premier Division football team has fans known as the Toon Army?
Newcastle United.
That is the correct answer. Sue. When journalists Woodward and Bernstein revealed the Watergate scandal, for which paper did they work?
That's the Washington Post.
That is the correct answer. Mark. In religion, who was the Hebrew leader that succeeded Moses and attacked the walled city of Jericho?
David.
The correct answer is Joshua. Sue, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So, for £5,300, in the children's nursery rhyme, who saw Cock Robin die?
The Fly.
That is the correct answer. That means, Sue, you are tonight's strongest link and you go away with £5,300. Mark, you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.
I thought Mark was actually going to win it. I really did think he would win it.
My aim was to not get voted out in the first round, so getting all the way to the final was a bit of a bonus.
Especially when he got the football question. And I thought, I am so glad I didn't go first, because I would never have got that right.
So at least I can go home to Manchester with my head held high.
I'd been the strongest link, and I thought, yes, I can do this. And I did.